Welcome everyone to a new league called the PWC or Pokemon World Championship for short. I am Sniper and I'm the coach of your Sharpedos, and for week 1 of the PWC we're going up against my good friend Dave, aka the Fire King, coach of the Minnesota Victinis. And he's a really cool guy. He was the one who let me into the league. He runs the whole league and he's a very good battler. In Season 3, this is Season 4. In Season 3, he made it all the way to playoffs, having the best regular season record at 9-2 with a really good differential. And he did lose in the first round of playoffs. He got a bye through the first round, and then his first playoff match, so the semis, he lost, but he did lose to the winner. And he has a very scary team. He franchise tagged Victini, his mascot from last season, and his team mascot. He also has a Mega Venusaur, he has a Thundurus, a Florges, a Gligar, and a Tyrantrum, which is what he decided to bring for the match. He also had a Registeel, a Regirock, he had a Blastoise, he had an Ariados, and he had... Oh, this is going to be so annoying if I don't remember it. I'm doing this all off the top of my head. No, not a clue. It'll come back to me in a bit. Yeah, and I had... I don't have a draft analysis for this, so I'm just going to go over my draft. I decided to franchise Amoonguss because it's really good. And then I have more of a story team because I got snubbed like 3 times in the first round. I decided to make the whole draft pay for it. And I've always wanted to try it out, asking for the time too. So I have Mega Sableye, I have a Skarmory, I have Saturday the Slowbro, which I'm very excited about. I have Heliolisk, I have Azumarill, I have Druddigon, I have Dugtrio, I have a Quagsire, I have a Blaziken, and finally I have a Tauros. So a bit of a strange team. It was ranked number 1 in the post-draft power rankings, which I thought was pretty cool. And yeah, Dave has a really well-rounded out team. He has, I think it's one of the best teams. Definitely one of my favourites. Didn't change a whole lot from last season, but why change what isn't broken? Like he had Victini and Florges last season. He also had Blastoise last season. And he's used Thundurus in Season 1 and 2. Season 1, he made it to playoffs in that as well. And Season 2 didn't actually finish. Yeah, so I had to bring a team which I thought could, counter his team the best. So I have a Druddigon, mostly physically defensive with some special bulk. This is to take on Victini. I can take 2 Glaciates if he's a special set for the Druddigon. So I've got Rocky Helmet and Rough Skin with Stealth Rock, Dragon Tail, Earthquake, and Glare, because Glare is just going to paralyze everything. I've got, oh yeah, and Druddigon's called the Lego Dragon because it looks like a Lego dragon. And then we got Gem, our Mega Sableye, holding the Sable Knight, specially defensive, I believe, with Knockoff, Taunt for the Florges, Recover, and Will-O-Wisp. Then we've got Dr. Fungi, this team's captain, holding the Assault Vest with Regenerator, Giga Drain, Sludge Bomb, HP Fire, and Foul Play as it's set. I have HP Fire there, just so I have something for the Registeel, kind of similar to the Mega Aggron against Hassan in Week 5 of the WPL. It's just to give me something to hit it, so I'm not completely checked by it. However, he didn't end up bringing his Registeel. Yeah, and it's like just bulky special defense. And I have Foul Play in case he wanted to run. Well, mainly there for Tyrantrum, but I guess if I can use it against Victini, I will. Then we've got Saturday our Slowbro, which I'm very excited to be having back on the Cell Sharpedos. With the leftovers, Regenerator, to form a nice Regenerator core with Amoonguss, with Scald, Fire Blast, Toxic, and Slack Off. I was considering running a Psyshock for the Venusaur and the Florges. It would hit that pretty hard, but I opted out and went for Fire Blast because, again, I didn't want to get completely walled by that Registeel. Then I have Musketeers, the Dugtrio, holding a Life Orb with Arena Trap, enough speed to outspeed his Thundurus Incarnate, with Memento, Sucker Punch, Earthquake, and Stone Edge. And then I've got Pajamas, the Heliolisk. It's called Pajamas because I always used to think the shiny one looked like I was wearing pajamas. With just enough speed to outspeed Victini. With Surf, Hyper Voice, Volt Switch, and Thunderbolt. So yeah, this is our team, and he decided to bring his Victini, his Mega Venusaur, his Thunderous Incarnate, his Florges, his Gligar, and his Tyrantrum. I think it's obviously it's going to be the Florges to take on the Mega Sableye, the Thunderous just so it can Volt Switch back out, or the Gligar to set up rocks. Seeing Gligar, I knew the Tyrantrum wouldn't have rocks. I thought it'd be like a Choice Banded set or a Choice Scarf set or something like that. So I think Dr. Fungi is my safest lead because he can pretty much fool everything. So yeah, I'm just going to play the match. And he does indeed lead with his Thunderous. He goes for a U-turn, I guess, so it didn't get completely trapped by Dugtrio. And then it's got he went into his Venusaur, and I went for a Sludge Bomb just to get some damage off. He goes for a Synthesis, and I go for another Sludge Bomb. I know this thing's going to be really annoying. Thanks to your Assault Vest, his Sludge Bomb is not going to do nearly as much as ours. He's just going to keep going for Synthesis as I keep going for Sludge Bomb. He's going to switch into his Captain V. And I'm just going to stay and keep going for Sludge Bombs because I know I can potentially win that battle. He goes for Glacier, and again, I know I can take two with Druddigon. He goes out into his T-Rex, so I go for a Glare, which works out really well. And I go into Saturday, he goes for the Outrage, which does way too much for my liking. So the only way I can really take this thing on is to hope it gets Power Haxed, or just keep slacking off until it gets confused. So I just have to go for Slack Off here while he just keeps going for his Outrage. Thanks to the leftovers getting some of our health back, he's just gonna keep going for Outrage while I keep keep up the Slack Off. Now I know he's gonna switch because he doesn't want to hit himself, so he goes into his Thunderous, so I just get my health back up thanks to regeneration from the Slack Off. I go into Dr. Fungi, who can eat up anything this thing wants to do, forcing him to U-turn. He gets the crit, doesn't really matter. He goes back into his T-Rex. I'm going to go for the Sludge Bomb. It's going to do a lot, even though it's resisted. I'm going to go out, back into my Saturday. He's going to go for the Outrage. He gets the crit, which is unfortunate. So I'm just going to go for the Slack Off. And he gets Power Hacks, which is very unfortunate. And he gets confused. So that's a very unfortunate turn. I'm going to go for the Scald, as he breaks through confusion, goes for an Outrage. And I'm just going to go for another Skull, get rid of this thing, which is really nice. This thing was just a massive threat. He goes back into his Thunderous. I go into my Lego Dragon, because I thought Amoonguss might be a bit too obvious. So here I decide, the Victini I can deal with, because it's most likely a special set, because it's revealed Glaciate, and they switch to either Scarf or Specs. I believe he's Scarf. From the calcs I run. And I still have responses. I still have Heliolisk that, actually no, because he's Scarf, but I still have Gem, who I know can take that thing on really well. I also have Slowbro, who can also take it on, because I don't think he's going to have Bolt Strike unless he's like a mix set. So I decide I can just sack off Druddigon, and then I can get free switch into Gem and Mega Revolve it off, which means I'm going to be able to use this thing as my wall, because I thought it was too obvious to release, so I couldn't need to get it as Mega Evolution off, but now it's going to be a lot more bulky. So he switches out back into his Fire Flower. I go into Gem, get off a knockoff. I know I can take one Moonblast, so I just go for a Taunt, meaning can only go for Moonblast, and I just go into my Amoonguss. He gets a special attack drop, which is unfortunate. He goes into his Captain V. I'm going to go for the Sludge Bomb. And I'm going to go into Saturday. He's going to go for the Glacier once again. I know Saturday can pretty much take that thing on. And he is locked in, unless he was bluffing, which I don't think he was. Otherwise, I think he would have just gone for the kill there. And he's going to switch out. I'm going to switch out into my Mingus as he goes for a U-turn here. And he goes into his Gligar, which can wall this thing fairly well. He goes for the knockoff, not because of my assault vest, which is unfortunate. I just go for a Giga Drain. He goes for Roost, and I actually predicted a switch into potentially the Victini. I wanted to see if it did have any physical present, if it did have any physical investment. So I went for the foul play, which obviously doesn't do a whole lot to this Gligar because it's more defensive. And he keeps going for knockoff, proving that it's only offensive move, meaning that he possibly has Stealth Rocks or something of the sort, maybe Toxic. So he's going to go for the Roost here as I go into Gem. And here I just go for a Taunt, which gives me another safe switch into Amoonguss, knowing that Moonblast is going to do nothing. He goes into his Thunderous. I can go for a Sludge Bomb. And he goes for Hidden Power. Ice, I know I can eat that up. And I'm just going to kill this thing off with a Sludge Bomb. So, good job, Amoonguss. He goes into his Mega Venusaur as I go back out into my Mega Sableye. As he synthesizes. And I go for the Recover here. And what I'm thinking ahead of time is I need to stop that Venusaur from synthesizing. I know he only has 4 or 5 left. So I need to try and get that all out of it, otherwise this thing's just going to be a massive problem. And I don't have any weather on the team to kind of hinder that down like sand or anything. So he goes into his Fire Flower, so I just go into Amoonguss, knowing I can eat that up. Don't want Gem to sustain too much damage. Here I'm just going to go for the Sludge Bomb. He goes for his own Sludge Bomb. I know I calc I can live 1. And here I go back into Gem, and here he gets the Poison, which really sucks, because I don't actually have a Cleric on this team, which I might look for in free agency. And I go for the Will-O-Wisp, because I need this thing to be whittled down, and it can force the Florges in to go for the Aromatherapy as well, because all it's revealed is Moonblast. So I just go into Dr. Fungi, can wall this thing. And yeah, here I go back out to Gem. He goes for the Sludge Bomb again. Here I'm just trying to pivot, I try and heal my Amoonguss up as much as possible. I go for the Taunt. He only has 1 Synthesis left at this point, I believe. He's going to go for the Sludge Bomb. I'm going to recover up, which works out, because all he can do is Giga Drain or Sludge Bomb. Now he's going to switch out, going to his Fire Flower as I just recover because I want to keep this thing as healthy as possible. And I switch out, going to Amoonguss. He goes for the Wish here. And he misplays here. And I think he calced last time and thought he could live, but I was at -1 special attack. That was the difference. This time I wasn't, because I didn't get the special attack drop from the Moonblast. So he comes with the Victini, and the Victini gets taken out by a Sludge Bomb, which is really, really good, because that means that thing's gone and it can't threaten my team anymore. So he comes back in with his Mega Venusaur. He goes for a Sludge Bomb. I go for a Sludge Bomb on my own. And I want to get this last Synthesis out of him at some point. And at this point I actually think I was stalled out of Sludge Bomb, so I don't have any more Sludge Bomb. I do have HP 5, but it's not going to do nearly as much. But he goes into his Fire Flowers, I just recover up. He goes for the Aromatherapy. Right as I go for the Will-O-Wisp onto his Fire Flower, because I don't want that thing to be whittled down. Oh, sorry, I want that thing to be whittled down. I don't want it to just be living, especially since it has access to Wish. And he's going to go for a Moonblast, as I just go for a knockoff, wanting to, whittle it down a bit. He's going to go for the Wish. And I live on 1, so I decide I can save this thing as Death Fodder. Because I still have Slowbro and Amoonguss to kind of help with stalling him out a bit. Yeah, he goes back into his Poison Ivy. Now I'm out of Sludge Bomb and he's out of Synthesis. So he goes for a Sludge Bomb and I just go for a HP Fire. Which doesn't do pretty much anything. Apologies for that, everyone. My computer just froze, so I had to stop. Yeah, at this point, I just decide to, well, he goes for Sludge Bomb, I go for Hidden Power Fire. And at this point, I just decide to sack off Gem, because I don't really need it. And here I go into Pajamas, because Spec's Hyper Voice does kill. He goes into the Vamps, who still takes a good amount from it. So I go into Saturday, and he goes for the Roost, showing that he doesn't have Earthquake, which means I can take it on pretty well. So I go for the Scald, and he goes into his Florges. I'm just going to go for another Scald, and he doesn't have Protect, which means I'm just going to take it out with the Scald this turn, which is really nice. And here he just goes into his Poison Ivy. I switch out and go into my Heliolisk, knowing I can eat up pretty much anything this wants to do. And I go for a Hyper Voice, and again I know I can eat anything up and I can kill next turn with a Hyper Voice. So he switches out, goes into his Gligar, and I do a good amount. I want to save this thing because this thing's my win condition now. He goes for the knockoff onto Saturday. I know I can eat that up. And here he can go for Roost. However, I know I can win this fight hit. And we both go for the Toxic, which means now I know that I have a good chance of winning this because I can hit him a lot harder. Like, I do a good 40%. Yeah, I do, well, just under. But with the Toxic, I'm taking him down to just over half. And Toxic's going to keep doing damage over time. So now he's below half, which means he's not going to heal back up to full. Here he switches into his Poison Ivy. And I want to try and preserve Differential. And I expect him to go for a Sludge Bomb just to get the kill, but he actually... oh no, here he goes for a Giga Drain, which I expected. But here he goes for a Sludge Bomb. And I go for Hidden Power. And I expect him to go for a Sludge Bomb, but he actually goes for the Giga Drain, and he gets the crit, which is going to take out Musketeers. Which otherwise I don't think it would have. Yeah, I just bring in Pajamas, and I can just win here by clicking Hyper Voice. So yeah, we're going to win the first game 3-0, which is really cool. We got 2 kills with Spec's Heliolisk, 2 kills with Defensive Slowbro, and 2 kills with Assault Vest Amoonguss, which was really cool. And yeah, so I will link Fire King's channel. GG, really good game, really fun. So yeah, we're going to be 1-0 plus 3, which is going to keep us pretty high in the power rankings, and it's going to keep us pretty good in our division, which is important, because, you know, we want to go to playoffs. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like, and of course subscribe to not only me, but to Fire King as well, because he's a really good bastard and he brings up some really good content. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.